Hey guys, how you going? I just wanted to clarify on some of the things I said in the last video. Not the last one, the one before that, where I was face to face. The textbooks themselves of doctors and professionals, health professionals, are written by actual PhDs who are paid by pharmaceutical companies. I did some research myself and I looked into who the authors of these textbooks were, and it led me back to a pharmaceutical company. So that's where I get that information from. The reason I think our food is going to change is because, look, factory farming is cruel. No one doubts that. I'm a meat eater and I don't doubt that factory farming is cruel. But that ties in with the vegan, the vegetarian, the vegetables, even just on their own. We are growing large amounts of crops to feed animals when they normally eat grass. Now, these grains are sprayed with poison, herbicides, pesticides, and then they're fed to the cows. So when we eat cow meat or anything like that, we're getting what they eat. We're getting poisoned. And then when we eat our vegetables, they're getting sprayed too, so we're being poisoned that way. That's why I think food has to change, because everything's sprayed. And we need to get back to growing it in our backyards or neighbourhoods doing it together, little gardens together. You can feed a neighbourhood by getting a community garden happening. And I think people are going to need to do that because of how our food is produced these days. And then when you think about all the crops and grains and corn, oats, wheat, all that stuff, and then what packaged food it's in. Now, not only has it been sprayed with pesticides and herbicides and it goes into packaged food, but then they put preservatives and colours and things on top of it. Guys, this is not the way we're supposed to eat. I think no wonder we have an obesity problem, weight problems, and then you've got all animals are vaccinated. It doesn't matter whether you're eating the cattle or drinking the milk, that vaccination will affect, to some degree, the food that it gives you. So that's why I think vaccinations are going to end up not used anymore. We're in a big time in history where when people look back on what's happening now, people are going to think, why? Like when we look back at Germany and Hitler, we think, how did people fall for that? You wonder how people fell for it. Look at what we're faced with today. They learned from the Nazis. They learned how to promote propaganda and get us in a direction to lean one way or another. They're very good at it too. Back to the food for now. I'll get back to that in a minute. The food. Okay, if we were to go vegetarian or vegan and just eat vegetables, we would end up with brain fog because humans need meat and meat products. We do. I'm sorry. I love animals too, but we do. Years and years ago, I think it was the early 80s, we used to get ads on TV that explained why meat is good for the human brain and how the human brain developed more because of meat. Okay, if we did grow all vegetables and everyone stopped eating meat, the way things are going now, the land would be covered in solar panels, wind farms, and crops. And that's what all the spare land out there, you'd have to cut down a lot of trees. You've got to put solar panels up and they need sun. Trees can't be in the way. It'll block the sun. And then you've got wind farms that can't have trees around them because they probably cut through the trees, those propellers. There's a lot of things to think about when we think about how we're doing things now, and I think what we need to do. And if you love the environment and you care for the environment, start taking little steps to grow something yourself and stop relying on big corporations to feed you, because I don't think they're doing a very good job. I think they're hurting people. Yeah, Big Pharma's got a lot of hands in a lot of places, and I think food's another one, because if you look at Monsanto or Bayer, these companies make chemicals and make GMOs, and that's another thing. I forgot to mention about when I said about growing vegetables, that not only would the land be taken up with growing vegetables, but then you'd have poisoned land where they've previously grown and sprayed crops to the point where there's nothing left in that soil. And they have to regenerate the soil, and you need animals to do that. Another point would be, what are you going to do with all the animals who are going to try and eat your crops, who need grass to live? Does that matter? What are we going to kill all the cows and sheep? And what happens to them when we've taken all the land with grains and vegetables and things like that, and solar panels? And I think what's happening is the climate change side has sort of gone down a path to the opposite of what they were meant to do, because they want solar panels, they want wind farms. So in order to do, and they want everyone to go vegan or start eating people, yeah, they're going to have to cut down a hell of a lot of trees. I was going to say something else then. They're going to have to cut down a lot of trees to fit all that in. So you've got that. Just think about it. Look, I might be wrong, but think about what I've said, because it's going to take a lot of clear land to do what the climate change people want us to do. Personally, I think the climate changes, it always has. It's another reason why people might think I'm a bad person, but I'm not. I'm just a human being like everybody else. Okay, and with PhDs and who write textbooks for doctors to learn by, and doctors with the Hippocratic Oath, I don't think they sign anything. They take a Hippocratic Oath. They swear by doing good. And I think a lot of them mean what they say, and they do want to do good. But I think, unless they're doing their own research and seeing the results themselves and clicking on, I think they're being misled by pharmaceutical companies. And that's where I think that's where that point came from. I don't necessarily think I think they think that vaccines are good, like everybody else. I think everyone thinks vaccines are good until you've seen the sad side effects from them. You probably won't think otherwise, but that is going to come out too. So that's what I mean. Everything's going to change. I think all the truth about everything is going to start coming out. That's what I mean. Watch your TV with a critical eye, or actually just go and throw your TV out the window. You'd be better off. Propaganda, they learnt well from the Nazis on how to use it on people. And then Obama took a clause out of a ruling saying they weren't allowed to use propaganda on the American people, and he got rid of that just quietly. So they've been doing it, and I think they've been doing it the whole time and just trying to cover their backsides up. And if you look into Operation Mockingbird, a CIA operation, it goes along with Operation Paperclip, which was bringing 1,000 of the worst Nazi scientists taking them to America and getting them to work there. It's Werner von Braun, who really lifted NASA up, was part of that. You had a lot of doctors, scientists, people who knew what they were doing in a bad way, to then work that on the American people and get favourable results for the people who are in power. And by in power, I don't mean Donald Trump. I mean the people behind that. That's what I mean by the deep state too. There's what would you call them? They're shadow government. People who are running things really, and they just put our prime ministers and presidents up as puppet head. They're puppets. They're nothing more. They're working for somebody else. They're not working for the people. They're working for somebody else. And this is where I think everything's going to change. I think what's going to happen is most countries are going to go back to their constitutions, if they have one. If not, they're probably going to write one up. And it's probably going to follow along the lines of the American Constitution, I believe, giving people back their rights. Their God-given rights. Their civil rights, inalienable rights. You know, we have those things. Half the laws that we follow shouldn't exist. And I don't mean to let people do bad things, because no, you still have to have some certain law. And people who do bad things need to be punished, and they will. But then you've got the other side where they closed all the asylums down. So now you've got also not just bad people on the street and whatever they're doing. You've also got people who probably should be in a mental asylum. They shut mental asylums down years ago, and now these people are just out in public. And I believe that's what you have the most problem with. When I say society has a mental illness, I mean, a lot of people seem to have one these days. How can I put this? I don't want to insult anyone, but I think a lot of it can be gotten over if we can change society. Because what they've done is the deep state they've been running things all for the last 100 or so years. They brought out television. They pick what's going to be on TV. They know, they make sure, and they all lead into a certain direction. This is where we've been led so far. Now you've got all these people, everything's racist, everything's bigoted, all males are chauvinist, the list goes on. And this is what I mean by it's getting ridiculous, and people are losing the plot. People are following this. Even with climate change, do a little bit of research, guys. You might realise it's not as bad as what the TV is trying to tell you, because they're pushing an agenda. They want you to think a certain way because they're easier to control. That goes into CIA Mockingbird, Operation Mockingbird. The CIA has been in the TV, Hollywood, music industry for years. They actually, I believe they started the 60s. The free love and all this, you know, as many drugs as you want type of thing, lifestyle. And that could be where it went wrong. It could actually be wherever. Sorry, guys, if you love the hippie way and that, it's fine to be a hippie, but just realise that what has happened has guided us to where we are. God, you've got TV, the CIA is in news. They pretty much watch what's being shown on TV to make sure it abides by what they want to project forward. And the CIA is part of the ones who did Project Paperclip and brought all those Nazi scientists over. Sorry, I'm a bit cold here. Shaking. It's still a bit cold up here. We are in spring, but I'm still chilly. And the other thing, okay, I don't know if you know that Jim Morrison from The Doors was, his father was CIA. I don't know how much you know about people who do certain things in our society, like big crimes, the big false things. A lot of them have FBI, CIA, or they're being treated by a mental health person. I believe you should start looking into those. Sorry, guys. I always get an itchy throat when I start talking. CIA has been in music for a while. Hollywood. Like Hollywood TV and all that, it's meant to make you think a certain way. Oh, this is okay, that's okay. Get the public used to it, that's okay. I remember in the early 80s, you would never even see a woman with a bare chest on TV, and then all of a sudden in the late 80s, yeah, they started showing things on TV that they didn't show before. And what happens now is everyone just accepts it. It's how it is. So you can sort of see how things have progressed, and it is a progressive movement, and they want, I think they pretty much want a hedonistic lifestyle for everyone, which would promote more crime, and you know where that's just going to lead us down the path we're going, but worse. What else? I say a lot, don't I? Got to stop doing that. I think that's all I really wanted to say. There's, yeah, just look, honestly, open your window and throw your telly out. That'd be the best thing. Or just don't ever turn it on again. Unplug it. Don't turn it on. It's probably the best thing you'll ever do. You get no truth from TV. There's no truth in TV or on TV or on a big screen or even in music. Like, I mean, you do get little hints of truth in music, I believe. Like, you've got War Pigs by Black Sabbath. You've got quite a few, actually. Even Land of Confusion by Genesis from years ago. They have sort of come out with little things here and there. But, yeah, don't know whether they're shoving it in people's faces and just going, look, this is how it is, and you guys just follow it, you know? I think it's the same with, yeah, it's the same thing. No matter TV, radio, Hollywood, music, it's all the same thing. It all goes into a certain persuading you a certain way. Then if you look at MK Ultra, you've got the mind control side of things that the CIA has been doing. So, and I believe that's from the Nazi scientists as well, how they got Germany to go along with what Hitler was doing. I don't know. I don't know the full story on that either, because, look, we've been lied to about everything, guys. So don't believe everything, question everything, check out everything you can, and try and gauge your own what's going on for yourself, because, yeah, as I said, we're living in some of the most amazing times in history, and I think it's all about to change too. So what we're going to see is people are going to look back on this time and go, what on earth were they doing? Because no one's noticing how the world's going. Oh, well, some people are, sorry. Those of us who are awake know what's going on and how the world's going, and we can see it. We're trying to stop it. We don't want it to go that way. I don't know any sane person who would. And these are the elite, the shadow government, who are running things from behind the scenes. They are in charge of everything. Your government, TV, media, helped along by pharmaceuticals, other companies, or corporations. I don't think they're going to last long, because if the truth comes out, that's what's going to happen. A lot of corporations are going to fall. The truth, they won't stand against the truth. They can't do it anymore when the truth comes out, what they've been doing. And I believe it's probably worse than what we think even, like food and the things they've been doing, yeah. If you look at the last video I did on cues with Epstein or whatever, you can gauge a bit from that as well in how evil these people are, what they do to people, other people, normal people like you and me, if we happen to get caught up in their web somehow. And that's what the deep state is. The deep state are people like Epstein running the world. That's why I say to you, who are these people? Are they better than you and me? No, they're worse. Much worse. In fact, I think they've got the highest criminals in the world up in every government, in every high-level position they can possibly get. So everything's going to be cleaned out, I believe. That's what I believe. I believe Trump was asked by the military to run, maybe. The Q team are maybe military or very high level people. So go and check out the last video, because it's just interesting to look at and to see, have a bit more in-depth of what's going on. And in a way, it's like not a prophecy, but they're just asking you questions. That's all they're doing, asking you questions, getting you to think for yourself, because I think that's what we need to do. We all need to start thinking for ourselves and stop following the TV and the music and the radio and the newspapers. And like, you can read them, just stop listening to them so much. Use your own mind, because we seem to have lost that ability. A lot of people have. And they think, well, it's on TV, I can do it, or I don't know. I really don't know. But anyway, guys, thanks for joining me today. I didn't realise I'd be back so soon, and hopefully I'll keep doing videos. I'm enjoying doing them, and hopefully I'll get to go, I worked out what the live thing was. I had to enable it, and then I had to wait 24 hours. I found that out this morning. So tomorrow morning I might go live. I'll see how I go. Yeah. Have a good one, guys. Bye.